As night follows day, when a transfer window is open, you can guarantee that David Sullivan will want to play an active role in signing a player or two. And yet, again, the imminent signing of virtual unknown Keiber Lamadrid is testament to that. Sullivan has made it clear over the years that he wants to take credit for certain players being signed. He did it when we signed Crescencio Somerville back in 2024. He also wanted us to know in the summer he was responsible for the signing of Callum Wilson, and is also telling us he's responsible for making sure that Wilson stays rather than being allowed to leave in this window. And he's done this many times before over the years that he's been in charge of West Ham. And just why Sullivan doesn't actually allow those he hires to do the transfer business for him is odd, to say the least. West Ham are one of the last remaining Premier League clubs that doesn't have a proper structured scouting and player recruitment system in place. Every time we think we're coming close to one, something goes amiss. We had the arrival of Tim Steidten, but that was short lived. We also had the arrival of highly rated Carl Macaulay, but again, no sooner did Graham Potter get sacked, Macaulay followed suit. But one individual we all pinned our hopes on was Max Hahn, the head of technical recruitment and analysis. It's thought that Hahn has been working tirelessly with his team to identify talent around the globe, and he's credited with having recommended Songuta Magassa to the club. He was even the face behind the recent announcement of a partnership between West Ham and Amazon and tech company Crayon for developing an AI scouting platform. Quite an advanced step forward for West Ham, but despite all that, Sullivan simply loves going back to the good old fashioned or the not so good old fashioned way of recruiting players via his agent mates. And La Madrid is the latest example of that. He's a punt. He's a cheap option. He's one for the future. May not see fruition in the player for at least a year. But I guess for less than £1 million, it's a punt that Sullivan believes is worth taking. But why? Why does he keep doing this? Why continue to allow agents to continue having so much say in who we sign? West Ham has spent so much money so badly in the transfer market over the years, you'd think that Sullivan will have learned his lesson by now. But this doesn't seem to be the case. Barry Silkman, Will Sorthouse, Antonio Tramontano, the former Fiorentina chief scout, who is identifying talent in Italy and no doubt will have had some say in the arrival of Tati Castellanos, and now George Mendes. All of these individuals are agents who have been in on the act or getting in on the act when it comes to Mendes. Plus, there is one other lesser known and probably more unsavory agent who's been pushing for the La Madrid deal to happen. These agents all know that West Ham United is a perpetual cash cow for them, and they continue to bleed the club dry until we hit rock bottom. And relegation could be that rock bottom where the money will run out or certainly be severely depleted. And West Ham won't then be able to continue lining the pockets of these blood-sucking agents as well as they have been over the past 15 years. But I ask again, why does Sullivan keep doing it? Why does he continue to make the same mistakes in the transfer window? I guess because if one player becomes the next big thing, Sullivan will be able to stand up and say, that's on me. I brought him in. We've had this so many times before. Diafro Sacco, was an early example who took Sullivan's fancy. And even Saeed Benrahma was another when at the time David Moyes would have preferred to sign Ollie Watkins when both players were at Brentford. I guess one may argue we might have fared a lot better had we signed Watkins over Benrahma. But none of these players that Sullivan has signed have become the next big thing, the next big money spinner. Somerville, as much as I like him, has only now started to show what he might be capable of. And let's hope he starts giving consistent performances from here on in. And maybe he's still quite young. If he does really hit peak, then maybe he's one of the ones that might be sold for a lot of money in the future. Now, when I think about this, why La Madrid? Why have an agent recommend a player that we've none of us have heard of? And one wonders whether the Amazon Crayon relationship that was unveiled last November by Max Hahn will actually last. This AI scouting platform that's being developed, it's going to take time. It's not going to be overnight. But Sullivan is an impatient man and he wants things to happen now. And maybe that's one of the reasons, not giving him an excuse, but maybe that's one of the reasons why he reverts back to using his agents. It won't surprise me one bit if the AI platform is dropped, especially if we get relegated. As I've said many times before, the reason why our West Ham squad is in such a mess is because of the involvement of too many individuals. And they're all in it for their own gain rather than for the good of West Ham. They're all guilty of ruining the squad. Salthouse, Silkman, Steiden, Moyes, Lopetegui, Potter, the agent behind the La Madrid deal, and now Mendes is added to that long list. But I guess the guiltiest of all is the person that actually allows it to happen. And that, of course, is Sully himself. Um, History keeps repeating itself when it comes to West Ham, and I'm worried that it will continue to do us more harm than good. All right, a quick roundup of transfer news. Apparently, the rumours surrounding Songutu Magassa and Guido Rodriguez leaving West Ham are apparently untrue. Magassa missed the last game because of a slight knock, and with Andy Irving having left the club, there are no plans to get rid of Rodriguez. And this is despite Romano having said that Valencia are now the latest club after Gremio in Brazil. Valencia in Spain are the latest club who are close to signing Rodriguez. Now, response from the sources at the club have stated that this is wrong, unless the manager himself has actually changed his mind of the player staying, because it seems he's being used, isn't he? He is being used on a not a regular basis, but the last couple of games when we've needed a sub to come on in midfield, it's been Rodriguez. As for Magassa, the response was that clubs are trying for loan options on our players, and apparently this is a bad joke. Now, don't know what sort of answer that is. That doesn't answer whether if a bid to buy without any loan comes in, would West Ham be tempted to sell Magassa? I don't think they will, but let's hope not. Now, other than those two players, there are no updates on other players supposedly leaving, and that includes the whole Lucas Paqueta saga. That continues, and as I said on my Monday night show, the biggest fear there is if nothing is agreed before the Premier League window shuts on the 2nd of February, then maybe Paqueta might continue to have a bad back, so that we end up being forced to sell him, because as you all know, the Brazilian transfer window is open until March, another month. Well, no good for us. And that's that's the scariest scenario, isn't it? That we don't sell him during our transfer window. We don't get money in order to get a replacement. And then he goes in February or the end of February, and we're left with money, but no way of spending it. What else? Well, there's a few players apparently coming in, so I might as well mention them to you, but none of them are central defenders. Now, one defender that's been linked with us on Tuesday is we've made an inquiry about right back Brooke Norton-Cuffy from Genoa. Norton-Cuffy was part of the England under-21 squad that won the Euros last year. The 22-year-old defender started life in the Arsenal Academy. He's had several loan spells, primarily clubs like Millwall, etc., and Coventry City. And then he went to Genoa for £2 million or €2 million in 2024 on a permanent deal. Since then, he's gone on to make 35 appearances for the Italian club, and this season he's shone quite brightly. He's got great athleticism. His style might work probably better as a wing back, but over time, he'd become an excellent overlapping right back. Robust in duels, doesn't shy away from a tackle. His delivery can be a little bit erratic at times, and he can sometimes get caught out of position, either too high or too narrow. But good coaching can help him manage his positional play a lot better. But is he one for the here and now? Or is he another one that could be for the future? He'd make a great backup for Aaron Wan-Bissaka and maybe a replacement for Carl Walker-Peters at some stage. I do lie. There is a defender that's a central defender that we've been linked to, and that, of course, is another injury-prone player, Tyrone Mings of Aston Villa. Have you noticed that the only central defenders we seem to be linked to lately are those who carry injuries or perpetually injured or just a little bit past their sell-by date? We're still being linked to a goalkeeper, which suggests someone somewhere in the club has made it clear that the days of Mads Hermansen at West Ham are numbered. Or could it be, maybe it ain't Hermansen, and it could be Areola for that matter, whose days might be numbered? I think it is Hermansen, to be honest with you. There are so many goalkeeper links with the likes of Stefan Ortega from Man City, as well as James Trafford from the same club, Philip Jorgensen from Chelsea, Bento Matthias from Al Nazir in the Saudi League. Now, Matthias was meant to be on his way to Genoa, club I've just mentioned, but apparently that deal has now fallen through. So are West Ham interested to try and get him again? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to see. And finally, for now, we're being linked to yet another wonder kid and another player that plays out on the wing. This time, it's Pablo Garcia from Real Betis. Now, according to reports, we're about to trigger his 30 million euros release clause. 19 years of age, versatile winger. I don't know, people. I've lost count of the number of wingers that we've been linked to. Why are we going? I mean, I guess there's no harm for a backup, but are we really going to spend 30 million euros on a release clause for a 19-year-old? I don't think so. Look, what it is we need right now, it's no secret, is we need central defenders. And I can't believe that with so many agents bending Sullivan's ear, that none of them have come up with a recommendation of any half-decent central defender worth going for. But I guess when it comes to Sullivan and his agent mates, the quality of the player, more often than not, comes secondary to the sale price.